Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. And a round of our top stories. Senate in rowdy session over President Muhammadu Buhari's latest appointment of heads of government parastatals. Nigeria's main opposition party, People's Democratic Party, threatens to pull out of the 2019 general elections over vote-buying allegations and lack of confidence in INEC. Ekiti State Governor-elect Ekwueme reveals plans to probe governance in Ekiti in the last 4 years as he presents certificate of return to President Buhari. And US President Donald Trump rejects proposal for Russia to interrogate US citizens. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and then follow the instructions. Now let's take a look at some of those pictures that were sent in to us, and let's start off with this image from Lagos at the Oba Akran Bridge in Ikeja, the state capital, showing a portion of the bridge caving in. Our eyewitness reporter is raising concern that things might get worse if not quickly fixed. And next is this set of images from Alimosho area of Lagos State, showing the state of this project, which our eyewitness reporter says was built for completion in 6 months, but was left unfinished shortly after commencement. Now, she's calling on the state government to revisit the project, considering the ease it will bring to residents. And finally is this image from Oyewole Road, Agege in Lagos, showing this illegal dump site by the roadside. Our eyewitness reporter is worried about the implication on the health of residents if not cleared. For all the pictures that you sent in, thanks a lot. Do send us some more. Let's take another look at some politics now. The governor-elect of Ekiti State, Dr. Ekwueme, says his administration will examine receipts and expenditure of the state under Governor Ayodele Fayose to determine why salaries for civil servants were not paid. Mr. Ekwueme gave this indication when he spoke to State House correspondents after he visited President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. He promised to improve on his former record in governing the state and also denied allegations of vote buying during the July 14th election.
Mr. Ekwueme is one of the early callers to the presidential villa. His mission is to share the joy of his victory with President Muhammadu Buhari. After the meeting, he talks about his vision for Ekiti State, with a promise to redouble efforts in meeting the aspirations of his people. He told reporters that he will examine the spendings of Governor Ayodele Fayose once he takes over.
It will be irresponsible on my part to come here and say to you that we will not examine what transpired in the last 4 years in the manner of governance. What were the receipts in terms of revenue into Ekiti State? What was the expenditure in that period? Why were we not able to pay salaries?
For Mr. Ekwueme, his party, the APC, won clear and fair.
Allegations are there to be examined, to the best of my knowledge, in my own community where I voted, where I examined what transpired in the election. There was no vote buying.
The family of the late former Vice President, Dr. Ekwueme, were also at the presidential villa to thank the government for its support during the burial of Dr. Ekwueme.
We, as family and members of the community, sought an audience with Your Excellency at a time convenient to you so that we can place on record the depth of our appreciation and gratitude.
The visitors say they are looking forward to the early completion of the mausoleum in honor of the late Ekwueme, as promised by government. With the president's request for environment and supplementary budget still at the National Assembly, plus recent heightened political activities, Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki showed up at the villa. The meeting held behind closed doors, with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo also in attendance. There was expectation at the end of the meeting, but the Senate President wouldn't give away anything.
So just tell us,
I have no comment.
1 minute.
No, I have no comment.
So nothing discussed about the new PDP?
Neither would some APC governors who were part of the meeting.
What?
About the meeting?
Which meeting?
What was discussed?
What meeting?
There was no meeting. Visit within 2 months.
The new executive of the Nigerian Medical Association also visited the president. He told them about considering an upward review of budgetary allocation to the health sector.
Government is considering the Ayele Ahmed report as a platform in resolving the interprofessional rivalry in the health sector. The office of the SGF is handling this matter. We are also committed in reconstituting the Board Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria soon.
President Buhari impressed on his guests the need to negotiate better working conditions instead of strike actions. From the presidential villa, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
Well, for more from Ibrahim Adra in Abuja, let's go to him live now. Ibrahim?
Many thanks indeed, Ijama. Good to see you. Now let's begin with the call by the state governors for an end to the rising cases of killings in the country. And they are asking security agencies to take more drastic action on the matter. Anambra State Governor Mr. Willie Obiano says the National Economic Council is particularly worried about the killings and insists that it must stop. He was speaking at a media briefing after the National Economic Council meeting at the State House in Abuja. Correspondent Gloria Umezoke reports.
Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo presides over the National Economic Council meeting for the month of July. After only 2 hours, the closed-door meeting ends.
Council meeting today.
The Anambra State Governor explains the status of the $1 billion deducted by the federal government from the excess crude account to fight insurgency.
I was properly informed that even that amount has not been expended as we speak. There's a growing concern, including at the council and elsewhere, that that issue of killing must stop, and I believe that all the appropriate agencies are aware that that concern is growing, and I'm confident that they will listen to the pleas of people and do something more drastic than has been done so far.
The council also announced that 1,310 inmates have been freed to decongest the nation's prisons.
We have a total of 2,359 condemned convicts nationwide. And the threat they present to the prison system is very, very clear. The federal government directed the Federal Ministry of Justice to fast-track the decongestion of prison.
Council equally agreed to set up a federal monitoring unit to identify locations of crucial action and implement flood prevention.
Council also approved a project cost sharing ratio of federal government 30%, state government 30%, presidential committee on flood 40% on identified projects.
Meanwhile, the governors say the issue of the Federal Accounts Allocation Committee, which is deadlocked for a third time in a row, was not discussed at the meeting. But negotiations by a committee of NEC continues to find a solution. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezoke, Channels Television News.
In a similar development, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar, has raised alarm over the incessant killings across the country. The monarch says there is too much bloodshed, rising cases of thuggery, terrorism and armed banditry, and that some Nigerians cannot continue to kill and spill innocent blood in the name of religion when both Islam and Christianity preaches the sacredness of life, which should be respected by all. He was speaking at the National Summit on 2019 Election Integrity, organized under the auspices of the Nigerian Interreligious Council.
As the nation prepares for another general elections in less than 7 months, the issues of quality of leadership that will emerge is dominating discourse at various gatherings. traditional and religious leaders across the country meeting under the umbrella of the Nigeria Inter-Religious Council are here to discuss the leadership challenge the country has been facing over the years.
Election is coming now. We are all talking of one man, one vote. Youths off the streets. We can go on and talk forever. What are we doing? There is no leadership without followership.
We must teach vigorously our members the need to maintain sanity during the period of election. The need for them to get their voters registered, the need to go and vote, and to vote rightly, not to allow their consciences to be bought.
What kind of leadership should we be voting for in the year ahead? Leadership of character, competence, and capacity. If individuals that put themselves up for election in this country do not have competence, do not have character, do not have capacity, these institutions that are represented here must say goodbye to those locusts.
However, the spate of killings in the country is a source of concern.
There's been too much bloodshedding in Nigeria, and bloodshedding is of innocent people that don't even know what's happening, don't even know what is government. And it's across the country. And if we don't take the sacredness of human life and continue killing innocent people, we cannot see peace, we cannot have peace, we cannot see development in any place.
At the end, the gathering unveiled a campaign tagged "Let the Votes Count, Rig No Vote," to mobilize Nigerians to stand up and be counted during the elections.
And when the news at 10 returns, Medview Airline receives newly acquired Boeing 777-200ER to join its fleet. Do join us again.